Good morning students, this is Aishwarya, Assistant Teacher of Social Science. My topic is on 10th standard first lesson, History, Indian History, Advent of Europeans to India. The contents that we are going to learn in this lesson are the trade and commerce relationship India had with Europeans, the arrival of Europeans to India for trade, the Carnatic Wars in the backdrop of European political developments, Battle of Plassey, Battle of Bursar, and dual government system, the British policy of aggression. So these are the contents. Let us take the first topic, the trade and commerce relationship with India had with Europeans. There were trade and commerce relationship between India and Europe since ancient times. This is the land route what you are seeing in the map through the Constantinople city of Asia continent and the Italy you can see there which had the trade monopoly with the Europeans. There was a great demand for Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger and many other spices in Europe. The trade relationship had continued between India and Europe and other Asian countries even during the Middle Ages. The Arab merchants carried the Asian merchandise into Constantinople, Eastern Roman Byzantine Empire. Italian merchants would buy these goods and sell in Europe countries. Like this, Constantinople was the center of the international business and considered as the gateway of European trade. While Arab merchants had gained monopoly over the trade in Asian countries, Italian traders had gained monopoly over trade in Europe. The merchandise of from Asia had brought good profits to Italian merchants. Next, the topic is the fall of Constantinople. The trade and commerce between Asia and Europe was taking place through the city. This is the great demand of Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, etc. This is the reason why the land route took place in between Europe and Asia through the city of Constantinople. The fall of Constantinople, the trade and commerce between Asia and Europe was taking place through the city of Constantinople. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured the city of Constantinople. As a result, the Constantinople came under the control of the Turks. They started levying too many taxes on the goods passing through these routes. As a result, the merchants felt that the trade was not profitable. Meanwhile, Spain and Portugal were attempting to break the monopoly of Italian traders. They started encouraging courageous sailors to find sea routes to India. The inventions of compass, astrolabes, and gunpowder provided further impetus to this venture. Many other European countries also followed the sea route to India. Among them, the first country was the Portuguese. You can see the picture of Eastern Roman Empire of Byzantine Empire, and this is the invention of compass, astrolabes, and gunpowder. The navigational sailor's compass rose in 1607, and the modern compass that you can see at 20th century compass. This is the mid 14th century compass. These are the inventions of compass. By the help of these, the sailors were using the ships to navigate to their places. You can see the picture of astrolabe, a spherical astrolabe from medieval period of 1480, and the modern astrolabe made in Tabriz, Iran in 2013. The invention of compass and astrolabes, these are the pictures you can see here. And the new sea route was founded by Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor, who felt, and this is the gunpowder used in those times, which were using for the finding out the new places in the continents. Vasco da Gama used all these equipments and sailed, left the Lisbon and reached Capado near Calicut on east coast of India in 1498. See, you can see the picture of Vasco da Gama, Lisbon. He set sail from Lisbon. The Viceroy of Portuguese in India. the first viceroy. Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese sailor, left Lisbon and reached Cape near Calicut on the east coast of India in 1498. By this, he was successful in discovering a new sea route to India. This route continued to be the route of trade between India and Europe for many years. Like this, Portuguese were the first to re-establish trade between India and Europe. In 1869, a huge canal was built in Egypt to connect the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. You can see the picture how the Vasco da Gama has been reached from Lisbon to south tip of Africa, that is Cape of Good Hope. He named it as the Cape of Good Hope, and then through the help of the merchant, one of the Indian merchant, he reached the Calicut. And towards the left you can see the picture of Suez Canal. It was in the year 1869 between Egypt to connect the Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea. It was called a Suez Canal. Until the building of Suez Canal, the sea route discovered by Vasco da Gama was the route used for the trade between India and Europe. The ships had to pass the Cape of Good Hope, the southernmost tip of Africa, to reach India. The distance between Mumbai and London through Cape of Good Hope is 10,800 nautical miles. 1 nautical mile is equals to 1.85 kilometers. It is only 6,200 nautical miles through Suez Canal. The journey is reduced to half distance. Compare the map. And next comes the European trade companies. With success of Portuguese, many Dutch, French and English arrived at India for trade. This development not only changed the history of India, it also changed the history of European countries. Among them, the first was the Portuguese. They were the first to arrive and they were the last to leave India on the sea route. After the Vasco da Gama, Francisco de Almeida arrived to India, the viceroy of Portuguese. He implemented blue water policy in order to establish the supremacy over the sea instead of supremacy over the land. Here one more question rises, that is MCQ question. What is blue water policy? For this you have to, the correct answer is establish the supremacy over the sea instead of supremacy over the land. Then comes Alfonso de Albuquerque, who came after Almeida. He is considered the real founder of Portuguese Empire in India. He waged battle against the Sultan of Bijapur in 1510 and won Goa. Goa became the administrative center of Portuguese administration in India. The Portuguese had absolute monopoly with the arrival of English and French in India. The Portuguese was the first to rule the parts of the Indian subcontinent. You can see the picture of Dutch. This is the next second European country came to India, followed by Portuguese. Dutch are from Holland. At present we call them as Netherlands. They established United East India Company in 1602 with the aim of doing business with eastern countries. Okay, next comes the English. The Queen Elizabeth, you can see the picture of. Then in 1600, December 31st, Queen Elizabeth issued a royal charter authorizing East India Company to trade with eastern countries. For 15 years, the company started the business formally in 1613. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir issued royal permission to English to establish first warehouse or factory at Surat. In 1617, Sir Thomas Roe arrived at the court of Jahangir as a royal ambassador from the court of James I. He sought permission from Jahangir to establish factories in other places of Mughal Empire, established factories at Agra, Ahmedabad and Bhuj. Chandragiri Fort was established at and named as St. George Fort later. Charles II, the Prince of England, gave Bombay as an annual rent to the £10 a year to East India Company in 1668. You can see the picture of European settlements in India. By the 17th century, English established Bombay, Madras and Calcutta as the centers of their residencies. By later part of 18th century, Calcutta as their capital city. They implemented their own civil and criminal procedure codes in the areas that were under their control. English took Madras from the King of Charles to the Prince of England. Next comes the French. The French East India Company started as a government-owned company in 1664. It started its first factory in Surat in the year 1668. Later, they established its factories in Machilipatnam, Chandranagar, Mahe, Karaikal, etc. In 1674, the French took Valikandapuram from local Muslim officials and they made it as a major center of trade. The center was Puducherry. Next comes the competition between the English and French. The competition between English and French, meanwhile, political volatility arose in the regions of Hyderabad and Carnatic province. This led to the Carnatic Wars. The reason for the Carnatic Wars is the Hyderabad kingdom was established in 1724 by Ajaf Shah. His feudatory ruler Dost Ali, who was ruling Carnatic region, was not loyal to him. The Marathas killed Dost Ali in 1740 and looted Carnatic and imprisoned his son-in-law Chanda Sahib in Satara. Azaf Jah named Anwaruddin as the Nawab of Carnatic in the place of Dost Ali. The first Carnatic War, this is the reason for first Carnatic War. Now you can see the picture. First Carnatic War took place between 1746 to 48. On the request of Dupleix, La Badanis, a French military leader from Mauritius, invaded Madras and captured this. It forced the helpless British to request the help of Anwaruddin, the Nawab of Carnatic, to support. The army sent by Anwaruddin failed to defeat the French at Madras. Finally, La Badanis took money from the English and returned Madras and went back to Mauritius. This enraged Dupleix and attempted to take Madras but failed. Finally, this war ended with the Treaty of Europe in England between France and England called Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle. Next, the second reasons for the Second Carnatic War. The Nizam of Hyderabad, Asaf Jah, died. The tussle started between his son Nazir Jan and his daughter's son Muzaffar Jan for the throne. On the other hand, a fight had broken out between Chanda Sahib, who was released from the Maratha prison, and Anwaruddin in Carnatic. French extended their support to Muzaffar Jan in Hyderabad and Chanda Sahib in Carnatic. The English extended their support to Nazir Jan and Anwaruddin. In 1749, the combined force of French, Chanda Sahib and Muzaffar Jan defeated Anwaruddin and killed him in Ambur battle. Thus, this war took place in Tiruchinappalli with the help of English, and the reasons, as a result, Chanda Sahib became the ruler of Carnatic. Muhammad Ali, the son of Anwaruddin, stayed at Tiruchinappalli with the help of English. In Hyderabad, Muzaffar Jan became the Nizam by killing Nazir Jan with the help of French and Chanda Sahib. He got killed after a few days. The French made Salabat Jan, another son of Azaf Jah, as the Nizam of Hyderabad. These circumstances took place between 1749 to 54. By this, Chanda Sahib was imprisoned and later killed in this war. In the place Chanda Sahib, the English renamed Muhammad Ali as the son of Anwaruddin. The Second Carnatic War ended with the Treaty of Pondicherry. French recalled Dupleix. This war brought laurels to English while French suffered a political setback. You can see the picture of Salabat Jan of Hyderabad, the Nizam, and the French officer Bussy. The Chanda Sahib, Nawab of Carnatic, and Muhammad Ali. In the changed circumstance of French made Salabat Jan, and Bussy was stationed in Hyderabad for his protection by the French. These are the causes and the The war was ended by the Treaty of Pondicherry. These are the points you have to remember and note down. Here arises the question, 2 more question. Briefly explain the Second Carnatic War. Then comes the Third Carnatic War. Comte de Lally of French attempted to besiege Vandivash in 1760. In this decisive battle, Sir Eyre Coote of English army defeated the French and imprisoned Bussy. You can see the picture of Vandavasi in Tamil Nadu, at present in Tamil Nadu. Sir Eyre Coote of English army defeated the French and imprisoned Bussy. Lally escaped and hid in Pondicherry. Finally, Eyre Coote attacked Pondicherry and Lally had to surrender unconditionally in 1761. French had to lose all their bases, and this war was ended by the Treaty of Paris in 1763. French had to lose all their bases in India due to the Carnatic Wars. In spite of this, as per the Treaty of Paris in 1763, Pondicherry was returned to French. With these developments, French lost their importance in India. Like this, the war ended. Next comes the Robert Clive. The importance of Robert Clive in the British East India Company, who laid firm foundation of the British power in India, had joined the East India Company as clerk. He played a decisive role in the Carnatic Wars, particularly in the Siege of Market, and played a prominent role in the British victory. He was successful in establishing the British rule over South India and was instrumental in Bengal victory also. After the Battle of Plassey in 1757, he gained control over the Nawab of Bengal also. Robert Clive gained control over the Nawab. Clive amassed immense wealth in all these ventures and helped East India Company to earn more profit. Clive returned to England with immense wealth, rich, and became the Member of Parliament. With the return of Clive to England, the East India Company started facing losses in its business. Even though there were many allegations against Clive, the British government had to resend Clive to India to save the company and also save the face of the country. The British won the Buxar of battle and earned back its respect again. Clive was successful in securing the Diwani rights for the British over Bengal, Bihar and Odisha regions. This brought more wealth to Robert Clive and East India Company as well. So this is the importance of Robert Clive. Next, let us come to know about the Dupleix. Dupleix was named the Governor General of French regions in India in 1742. He dreamt of achieving French harmony over India and entered into treaties with the local kings. Hyder Ali was also trained in the army of Lotus raised by Dupleix. The British considered Dupleix as a formidable challenge to them. Hence, we notice clashes between the French and the British to gain supremacy over Carnatic and Deccan Plateau. Dupleix played an important role in the First Carnatic War in 1746. The rivalry between the French and British continued till 1754. Later, French government recalled Dupleix as it wanted peace. Next, British rule in India. The British rule in India starts from 18th century. The most important political achievements have been done by British in India. After gaining political control over South India, British tried to gain control over the rich Bengal province in the later part of the 18th century. The Bengal province achieved tremendous growth in the area of agriculture, commerce and industry. East India Company was making considerable profits from this province. The Dastats, that means a license that can ensure everyone to import and export without paying any tax and transport goods anywhere. This is the license issued by the Mughal ruler Farrukh Shah. This was the main reason for this, but Dastats that were limited to the company transactions were misused by the individual officers of the company. This led to the Battle of Plassey. This is Siraj-ud-Dowlah. He knew the cunningness of the Britishers and this is the reason why the Sirajuddaula fought between the Britishers. The reasons are the misuse of dastards. Misuse of dastard means Sirajuddaula. The Dastakas, Sirajuddaula was furious that Dastakas were misused by the officials of the company, incurring losses to the government of treasury. The second reason is mending the fort without permission. The British repaired the fort of Calcutta and placed cannons in them. This further angered Sirajuddaula and he ordered the removal of cannons from the court of British. Refused to do this. Next, third reason is the Black Room tragedy. Sirajuddaula conquered the Fort William easily and imprisoned some of the British. He imprisoned 146 Englishmen in a small room in the fort, of which 123 died. This is called as the Black Room tragedy. This enraged Robert Clive and arrived in Bengal with a large army. This is 2 marks question. You have to write the reasons point-wise and correctly full points. Next comes the outcomes of the Battle of Plassey. This war brought out the immorality, lack of unity among the Indians, and the greed of Indian businessmen. Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. The company gained exclusive rights to do business in Bengal. Mir Jafar had to pay rupees 17 corner and 70 lakh as a relief to Sirajuddaula's attack on the Fort William. So these are the reasons and outcome of the Battle of Plassey. 2 marks question, repeated question. You have to pay concentration on these 2 points. Robert Clive attracted rich locals like Manik Chand, Omni Chand, etc. The military head of Sirajuddaula. Next comes the Battle of Buxar that was headed in 1764. Mir Kazim was an efficient administrator in the beginning. He remained loyal to the company. He paid 2 lakh pounds to the company and gave away a few places to it. Shortly, he declared himself as an independent king. After verifying the misuse of Dastakhats, he declared the business as duty-free in Bengal. As a result, the Indians competed. They bought in Mir Jafar again and dethroned Mir Kazim. As Mir Kazim knew about the cunningness of the British, he went for an organized war against them. He was supported by the Indian merchants and artisans. They brought Mir Jafar again and dethroned Mir Kazim. He was supported by the Indian merchants. Mir Kazim entered into an agreement with Mughal ruler Shah Alam II and Nawab of Awadh, Sujauddaulah. The combined forces of Mir Kazim faced the British army led by Hector Munro at Buxar in 1764. Mir Kazim got defeated and ran away from the battlefield. Shah Alam II surrendered. The efforts of the combined force to stop the British force failed completely. So the outcomes of this war was Shah Alam II accorded the Diwani rights over Bengal to the British. Shah Alam II gave away all the rights over Bengal to the British for an annual fee of rupees 26 lakhs. The Nawab of Awadh had to give away a fine of rupees 50 lakhs for waging a war against the company. With the death of Mir Jafar, the company paid an pension to his son and took over the entire administration of the Bengal. The Battle of Buxar made the British as the real holders of the power over Bihar, Bengal and Odisha provinces. So this gained monopoly. The Britishers gained power, political power and as well as the administration power over the Bengal province. This is the political aggression of the British to India. Then let us come to know what is Diwani rights. The right to collect the land taxes in the Bihar, Bengal and Odisha provinces. Then the political aggression, the next political aggression is the dual government. The British had the right to collect the land taxes, whereas the Nawab had power over administrative issues like justice and others. Like this, the British gained political control over India to protect their business interest. So the dual government, the concept of dual government, 1 mark question or 2 marks question will be rising here. Both the Battle of Bursar and outcomes are the important points you have to note down. And dual government concept, this is the exact thing. Then thank you and goodbye.